What's up, guys? Adam Patterson. And today I want to speak about talk is cheap. In reference to this, or in context to this, I spend a lot of time on social platforms where people in my industry are active. LinkedIn is a very big one. That's why I'm active on that platform. And what I see a lot of is agent recruiters, W 2 recruiters, people not in the actual game speaking to it quite a bit. And they all say the same general details, which is why I know that they're not actually in the game. They don't speak to anybody who actually runs any freight. They don't speak to anybody who's out there selling. And they focus on what they think is out there in the realm, opposed to just speaking with the people who might be in their offices or what have you. And I kind of see it a little bit in my own case because I have to assume a lot of the problems that shippers are going through right now because I don't work in office spaces where other brokers are running into these issues. And I don't run into a lot of issues. The way that I built my business is to avoid issues. If I'm not running into issues, I don't even know what issues are out there to be had. And I have to make a lot of assumptions. I have to do a lot of researching. But at the end of the day, I have no idea what issues are actually out there at this point because I have solved for my issues. And I can speak to the issues that I have solved for, but how do I know that everybody hasn't solved for them? But talk is cheap. And what I mean by this is if you're not in the arena, if you just sit there and you don't have any bruises or any scars from the industry that you've been in, you can't speak to it, right? And where I'm going with that is I can't call people up now and say, I've experienced these issues. I can say I've solved for these issues that I had in the past, but I don't know the current issues out there. And if I'm calling on a different style of ship or someone that I don't typically ship for, refrigerated or frozen cold products, I don't work in this space very often. Occasionally, I used to, but I don't work in this area often. When I call someone up, if they're in a refrigerated and frozen product sector, and I call them and I say, yeah, we experienced a lot of issues with pre-cooling. Now I just made it so that every driver arrives an hour before their appointment. I just tell them that their appointment is an hour prior anyway. And then when they get there, they're already pre-cooled by the time their appointment time comes up. It wouldn't make any sense. It probably wouldn't actually relay over very well to anybody because I don't actually know what I'm speaking about. You have to be in the realm to speak to the realm. And right now, transportation, logistics, and freight, it's interesting because when I go on social platforms, everybody is talking about how their carriers are now out for vengeance against them, how rates are skyrocketing. I'm not feeling that, and neither are my customers. And with that, I'm not having these problems. Now that I see that they are problems, which is why I stay active on social boards, I can now go and approach other potential customers and say, have your rates skyrocketed this week? Have your rates skyrocketed this month? Well, mine haven't, and that's because I have a great carrier base that's actually built on relationships opposed to me just going out and searching for the cheapest carrier every single time. I overpaid my carriers to begin with so that I didn't have to pay over that in the long term. And now I can go and speak to these problems, but you need to be in the arena. And talk is very cheap. You need to be in the arena. If you are not in the space, do not speak on the space. If you're not actively out there selling products or services, don't speak about selling products or services. If you're not out there actively building a company, don't speak about actively building a company. If you're not out there doing anything, don't speak about anything because you don't actually have any room to speak on. And that is what I want to say. And that is why I enjoy making this content so much because you're seeing me actively building a company in a day-to-day, in a freight agency, in a freight company, in a freight brokerage. I am actively in the day-to-day building a company, making sales calls, making calls to operators and owner operators and carriers, building new relationships, trying to expand my book of business and expand my service offerings. And without that, I shouldn't be speaking on it, but because I'm doing it, I'm showing it to you in real time. I don't want to just speak about it in the aftermath. You understand? Take care.